DNA test with the short Dora the Explorer wig. He had conversations with this woman like, I don't got time for this. I don't give about none of this. I don't give about a little Scrappy, a Mama D.
You definitely give about that. So you wouldn't have had that baby.
What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about Scrappy and Shakira's relationship is about to be blown wide open? I'm talking shocking DNA results, family betrayals, and explosive secrets that will make you question everything. Yes, you heard that right. Scrappy finally demands a DNA report from Shakira. But why now? Why after all this time? Is it the pressure from his overbearing mom, Mama D? Or is there something much darker lurking beneath the surface? And wait, don't tell me it's just about the baby's paternity. Oh no, it's far worse than that. Scrappy, the man who's been publicly defending Shakira, has now been dragged into a storm that could destroy everything he's built. So what really went down between them? And what secrets is Shakira hiding that Scrappy, who was once so certain, now doubts? This isn't just about a DNA test. It's about trust, betrayal, and a family at the breaking point. Stick around, because you won't believe what happens next. Welcome back to the channel, folks. If you're just tuning in, you're about to witness one of the most jaw-dropping revelations in reality TV history. But trust me, this is no ordinary scandal. We've all seen the drama. We've all heard the rumors. But now it's time for the truth to come crashing down like a wrecking ball on a mansion full of lies. This, my friends, is Scrappy's DNA test drama, and it's only going to get messier from here. Who is Scrappy? Oh, let's refresh your memory. He's the guy who's been at the heart of love and hip-hop, Atlanta's most controversial storylines. A man who's practically a magnet for chaos. But what happens when the drama isn't just for the cameras, but for the family? What happens when Scrappy's relationship with Shakira, a woman he's been defending publicly for years, goes from perfect couple to complete train wreck? Well, that's the story we're about to dive into, so buckle up because we're going deep. Now, what do we know about this couple? On the surface, everything seemed picture perfect. Scrappy and Shakira were the dream team, a reality TV couple with a baby, and a relationship that seemed destined for a happily ever after. Shakira, the woman by his side, was there through thick and thin. But Scrappy's relationship with Mama D has never been an easy one. And let's face it, Mama D is not exactly known for keeping quiet when it comes to Scrappy's personal life. But here's where it all gets messy. In case you've been living under a rock, there's been this little whisper in the air. The paternity question. For months now, fans, castmates, and even the streets have been buzzing with one big question. Is the baby really Scrappy's? Can you imagine the pressure on someone in his position? The whispers started off innocent enough, a few rumors here and there. But what was once harmless gossip soon spiraled into an all-out family war. Scrappy, ever the loyal man, kept pushing, those doubts aside. After all, Shakira had been there for him, right? They had a baby together. They were a family. So why entertain these rumors? But as the pressure kept mounting, especially from Mama D, Scrappy found himself questioning everything. The reality of a DNA test started creeping into his mind. And, let's be real, it wasn't just Mama D's voice that was making him doubt. It was the silent moments with Shakira that spoke volumes. Think about it. Shakira wasn't exactly helping the situation. She remained tight-lipped, brushing off questions about the baby's paternity whenever they came up. And let's be clear, silence can be deadlier than words when it comes to these types of relationships. Scrappy could feel it in his gut. Something wasn't right. But he didn't want to be the guy who jumped to conclusions and caused a scene. He thought, maybe I'm just overthinking this. But over time, those nagging doubts turned into full-blown fears. Was he being played? Was his own bloodline being questioned not just by Mama D, but by the woman he loved? Here's the kicker. As the show went on, the tension between them became impossible to ignore. Fans on social media weren't helping, either dissecting every interaction, every moment, every glance. Was Shakira hiding something? Was she really the loving partner Scrappy thought she was? Or was there more to the story than we'd seen? And here's the thing, Shakira wasn't just avoiding the questions. She was making them worse by not being upfront about her behavior. That silence, combined with Scrappy's own insecurities, created a breeding ground for suspicion. So what happens when the tension becomes too much to ignore? That's when Scrappy finally breaks. Mama D, ever the instigator, didn't make matters any better. She told her son straight up, "You need to take a DNA test." She didn't mince words. She didn't trust Shakira. And let's not forget the pressure coming from the fans all speculating online. Scrappy was suddenly caught between his loyalty to Shakira and his mother's demand for the truth. But when Scrappy finally decided to go for the DNA test, it wasn't just about finding out who the real father was. It was about scrutinizing everything he thought he knew about his relationship and family. This wasn't just about the baby. This was about trust, loyalty, and the destructive force of secrets that had been eating away at Scrappy from the inside. It was a moment of reckoning. And the test? Well, that was just the first step in what was going to be a massive unraveling. The test didn't come easy. Scrappy was tormented by the thought of it. He had already made up his mind to trust Shakira. He had to, right? But with Mama D constantly whispering in his ear, telling him to do what was right, Scrappy began to see the paternity test not just as a test of family loyalty, but a test of his future. What if the test came back, and everything he thought he knew was a lie? What would that do to his relationship with Shakira? And what would it mean for his bond with Mama D? The stakes couldn't be higher. But before we dive into what happens, next, let's pause and reflect on what we've just laid out here. Scrappy's world? Shattered. His loyalty to Shakira? Rocky. His relationship with Mama D? Strained. And all of a sudden, he found himself questioning everything. Was this just drama for the cameras, or was this real? Could the DNA test really change everything Scrappy thought he knew? Could the test results tear apart the family that once seemed so perfect? If you thought the tension between Scrappy and Shakira couldn't get any worse, think again. Just when you thought everything was about to be settled with a nice, neat little bow, the story takes a dark twist. The DNA test that Scrappy agreed to wasn't just going to answer a question, it was about to unravel the very fabric of their relationship. It wasn't just a test of blood, it was a test of trust. And it was going to expose a web of lies, secrets, and emotional betrayal. Let's be honest, when the rumors first started swirling, no one took them seriously. Fans and castmates tossed around questions about whether the baby was really Scrappy's. But hey, that's just the nature of the game in the world of reality TV. However, the whispers soon turned into something bigger, something darker. The pressure from the public, the fans, and most significantly Mama D turned this simple rumor into a full-blown family drama that had the potential to destroy Scrappy's world. Now Scrappy, the man who once stood by Shakira's side, had doubts, creeping in from all sides. It wasn't just the rumors. It was the silent behavior of Shakira. There was something in the way she avoided questions about the paternity of their child. Scrappy couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something, and when that nagging thought keeps you up at night, it's hard to ignore. So, the DNA test was more than just a test of paternity, it became a test of loyalty, a measure of who was truly telling the truth and who was hiding secrets. But the plot didn't stop there. Oh no, folks, things were about to get a whole lot messier. Let's break it down. While Scrappy was stuck in this emotional tug-of-war between Shakira and his mother, the public's reaction was nothing short of chaotic. Social media exploded with speculation. Leaked reports from anonymous sources began popping up, claiming that Shakira had a history of cheating on Scrappy during their relationship. These reports, whether true or not, began to fuel the fire. The story wasn't just about a DNA test anymore. It was a full-fledged scandal. Scrappy, now caught in the public eye, found himself facing the world's harshest critics. One source close to the situation, who of course wanted to remain anonymous, spilled some serious tea. They revealed that Shakira's behavior had been a constant red flag for months. Suspicious late-night outings, unaccounted for time with friends, and vague stories about where she had been. Scrappy, blinded by love and loyalty, refused to believe any of it. But once the rumors hit the mainstream, he couldn't ignore them anymore. And that's when the real bombshell dropped. Apparently, Shakira had been linked to another man, multiple men, to be exact. The sources revealed that Shakira's past wasn't as squeaky clean as it seemed. She had been involved with not one, not two, but several men during her relationship with Scrappy. The whispers grew louder. Was this really a love story? Or was this just another case of infidelity and betrayal, hidden under the glossy reality TV facade? As more details came out, the backlash was unbelievable. Fans of Scrappy were furious, taking to social media to express their outrage. How could she do this to him? They asked. They didn't want to believe that Shakira, the woman who seemed so loving and loyal on TV, was capable of such deception. But the evidence was starting to pile up. Scrappy's reputation took a huge hit, with some claiming that he should have known better. How could someone so successful in the public eye miss all the signs? But wait, the drama didn't end there. Mama D, who, by the way, had never been shy about voicing her opinions, took matters into her own hands. According to sources close to the family, Mama D started manipulating the situation, playing the role of the overbearing mother even more than usual. Mama D, who had always been a bit of a force in Scrappy's life, went full throttle with her suspicions. She wasn't just advising Scrappy to take the DNA test. She was actively pushing him to confront Shakira's past. At this point, Scrappy found himself torn between loyalty to Shakira and the desperate need for answers. He was already emotionally invested in the relationship, but the pressure from his mother and the public's expectations made it nearly impossible to ignore the truth any longer. Scrappy was backed into a corner. His trust in Shakira was being tested in the most brutal way possible, and so the DNA test was scheduled. As the day of the test approached, things got even worse. The speculation went into overdrive. Fans were waiting for the results, but the yadi question on everyone's mind was, what happens next? The public was already split. Some fans were still supporting Scrappy, hoping that the test would clear everything up, while others were doubting Shakira more than ever. Anonymous sources claimed that Shakira had already been preparing herself for the worst. She knew the truth was coming and she was bracing for the fallout. But now let's shift gears a little bit. The scandal was becoming too big to ignore, and public figures were starting to weigh in. Celebrity gossip columns, news outlets, and even rival reality stars began chiming in, offering their own opinions on the situation. Some claimed that Scrappy was just another man caught up in a bad relationship. Others said he was just being manipulated by his overbearing mom, and some even went as far as to say that Shakira's past wasn't the only thing that was questionable. Scrappy's own motives and behavior were being scrutinized. Leaked text messages, allegedly between Scrappy and Shakira, surfaced, showing emotional arguments and veiled threats. The pressure was building, and the results of the test were now the only thing that could settle it all. The tension in the air was almost palpable, and everyone was waiting for the moment when Scrappy would finally get the answers he had been seeking. Would the test confirm his worst fears, or would Shakira be cleared of all accusations? Hold on to your seats because the moment of truth is finally upon us. The DNA results have arrived, and with them comes the explosive fallout that will change everything for Scrappy, Shakira, and everyone involved. We've seen the buildup, the tension between family members, the rumors, the accusations, and the fight for trust. But now, we're about to see the consequences of these revelations. And trust me, you won't believe what happens next. So what was the result? Was Scrappy's paternity confirmed, or did the test tear their family apart in ways no one could have predicted? You won't believe it, but Scrappy's worst fears came true. The test results confirmed his suspicions, and it wasn't the outcome he'd hoped for. The baby was not his. Yes, you heard that right. Shakira's baby was not his. The news hit Scrappy like a ton of bricks. He was left completely shattered. For months, he had been defending Shakira, trying to silence the rumors. But now, with the cold, hard truth staring him in the face, everything he thought he knew about his relationship, his family, and his future was crumbling. At first, Scrappy didn't know what to do. The test results weren't just a slap in the face, they were a full-on gut punch. And to make matters worse, Shakira's reaction was nothing like he expected. There were no tears of regret, no apology, just a matter-of-fact admission of the truth. She hadn't wanted it to come to this. But now that the cat was out of the bag, there was no going back. "I didn't want it to happen this way, Scrappy," Shakira said, her voice weak. But the truth is, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to hurt you, but I had my doubts too. Now, the test confirms what we both should have known all along. Scrappy stood there in shock. He had trusted her. He had defended her. And in the blink of an eye, everything came crashing down. His heart felt like it was being ripped out of his chest. But what made it worse was the fact that Mama D was standing right there. Mama D, who had pushed Scrappy to take the DNA test, in the first place, now stood with a look of satisfaction on her face. "You see, son, I told you," Mama D said, her voice a mixture of relief and vindication. "You had to face the truth. She wasn't who you thought she was, and now we know for sure. It's time to move on." Scrappy looked at his mother in disbelief. Was this the reaction he was supposed to have? A part of him wanted to scream, to rage against the unfairness of it all. But another part of him knew she was right. Mama D, for all her interference, had been telling him the truth all along. She had pushed him to face the facts, even when he didn't want to hear them. Now, let's talk about the legal consequences of all this drama. You can bet your last dollar that this scandal didn't just stay in the world of reality TV. Lawyers were already circling, ready to step in if any financial battles arose from the paternity revelation. After all, this wasn't just about a relationship gone wrong, this was about parental rights and the future of Scrappy's child. Even though the baby wasn't his, Scrappy had been in the child's life for a significant period. And this could very well lead to a legal battle for custody or visitation rights. Let's not forget about the public backlash either. Scrappy, the once beloved reality TV star, now found himself in a political minefield. His reputation was at stake, and there were rumors of brand deals being pulled, sponsorships walking away, and public figures distancing themselves from him. In the world of reality TV, where image is everything, Scrappy had just taken a massive hit, and his future in the industry was now up in the air. As Scrappy sat down with Shakira in the aftermath of the shocking revelations, there was one question on his mind. What now? Could he ever trust her again? Would they be able to rebuild their relationship? And most importantly, what about their child? Shakira, though visibly shaken, was still determined to make things work. She apologized for the betrayal, but it seemed like her words were falling on deaf ears. Scrappy's pain was too raw, too fresh. And even though part of him wanted to forgive her, he knew the damage had been done. Then there was the matter of Mama D. Would she stand by Scrappy as he faced this new chapter in his life? Or was she already preparing for the next family drama? It was clear that Scrappy's decisions moving forward would be influenced not just by his own emotions, but by the ever-present shadow of his mother's influence. Would Scrappy finally take control of his life and relationships, or would Mama D's influence continue to dictate his choices? So what now? The DNA results are in, and Scrappy's world has been turned upside down. What does this mean for his relationship with Shakira? Will they ever be able to rebuild what's been broken, or is this the end of the line for them? And what about Mama D? Is she the hero or the villain in this messy drama? The fallout is only just beginning, and we want to hear what you think. Was Scrappy's decision to demand the DNA test the right one, or has he just set the stage for a complete disaster? What's your take on Shakira's actions? Does she deserve